Hi, welcome to the Lone Star Dowsers. I'm Mary Lindsay Wilson, and this is our August 2023 meeting. I have a few announcements tonight. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has made donations because it really helps us and it makes a difference. So if you feel called to contribute, on the bottom of the email, there's a PayPal, or you can send a check kind of the old fashioned way. It's all appreciated and keeps us going. So thank you. And I just wanted to mention that next month in September, we are having an in-person and online meeting with Dr. Stuart Marmestein, and he's going to he's this body magician. So he's going to show us some different techniques that we can learn to do ourselves, because I think being in physical and spinal alignment is more important than ever right now. So you can stay tuned for that. So now I would love to introduce our guest. I'm very excited about our speaker tonight. We have Cady, and she is in Colorado. She's a master dowser. She's a graphologist. And if you're not sure what a graphologist is, it's a handwriting analyst, I guess is kind of the shorthand for that. Now she is she's gone international. She's a motivational speaker and teacher, and she really loves to use her skills to change lives. She does lots of fabulous things, but I'll have to say, I came across a really old video of hers on YouTube and TikTok and was mesmerized by this energy. And something as simple as handwriting can really and truly change your life. And I've experienced some of that. Thank you very much, Polly. But her stories and her skills and expertise are really amazing. So you're in for a treat. If you have questions, you put them in the chat, please, and I'll let Polly know. But we're going to just kind of go through a wonderful process tonight. So welcome, Polly.
Well, thank you, Mary. I'm really excited to be with you guys. Yep.
We are so happy you're here. So I know you have a dowsing background and that your family was into dowsing. You want to tell a little bit, kind of tie in the dowsing for people?
Well, when I was about 9 years old, I used to ride around with my dad because he was a plumber. And we had a water system at that time that supplied water to about 4,000 people. And that was in Arvada, Colorado. And I used to watch him, with these rods. It's kind of strange when you get to a certain place and they cross over, and I go, Dad, what does that mean? He goes, we hit water. Really? And sure enough, there'd be water. Well, I followed him around, and then I didn't do anything with it for a long time except play in the backyard with my brothers and sisters, which I have 14 brothers and sisters, and me, that's 15. So we were always outside. And then as the years went by, I was a mom of 5 kids, and I didn't really have too much time to do anything except raise kids. And then this lady walked into my decorating shop because I figured if I was a decorator, I could always bop home if they were ever in trouble or whatever. And so she walked in and she said, we want you to become a handwriting analyst. Now, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. I'm a decorator. I do windows. I do bedspreads. I do that kind of a handwriting analyst. She said, we've seen your handwriting and we want you to be one. And I just thought, no. So she sent me letters, and she called me on the phone. She sent me her sister. She sent me other people. And finally, I gave in. It wasn't that much anyway. And I figured it's tax deductible if I could ever use it for my business, right? So I went ahead and took her class. Oh, that was the craziest thing because I fell so madly in love with it. I quit my business. I sold it. And I went on the road, and I took a number of classes with her and a number of classes with other people, and said, there's something better than this. And I'm going to delve into it and I'm going to find out what handwriting really is about. And so I studied and studied and studied and said, well, if handwriting is a mind writing, okay, because it comes down the back of your head into your hand and you write it on a piece of paper, it's a frequency. If everything they're telling me about your handwriting is true, like, okay, if you don't open your E's, okay, your small case E's like this, if they're closed, see like that, then that means that you won't listen to me. Well, then why can't you change it? Well, now that's a concept. Why can't you change all the letters of the alphabet? I mean, all I ever get out of most of the handwriting books is how bad you are. And I thought, I don't want to do that. I want to show people how good they are. And the first thing they tell me is, oh, I'm sure you're going to tell me how bad I am. No, I'm going to show you how you might think you're bad, but how you can become better by changing your handwriting. And every single letter means anywhere from 1 to 500 different meanings.
Wow. So it's learning
I'm
a separate
still
language.
Yeah, you are. Mm-hmm. Yes, you are. So as you can see, I put handwriting and handwriting on the board. Well, one of them is in cursive. The other one's in printing. The new generation says printing is not handwriting. Oh, yes, it is. Comes from the same place as any other letter or art form. You're an artist. So where you put the paintbrush, where you put the pencil, where you put any art thing and you start drawing, it's really coming from the same place as handwriting. It's a creation of thought. That's what it is. And I love it. And then I started getting back into dowsing. And I thought, well, this is crazy. Except that they take me to court, for, oh, I don't know. They thought they could probably say, somebody's not guilty. Well, they always threw me out. They said my work is too conclusive.
You mean
Oh,
your dowsing and your handwriting analysis of the, I don't know, the person who was on trial?
yep. And they didn't like that. See, they don't make no money off of me when I go in there and go, they're guilty. Well, how do you know? And I show them and I tell them what they just got done doing and how they did it and everything. And they go, oh, we can't have that. No, we can't have that. We have to have a jury. We have to have, lawyers, all that kind of stuff. So I decided, well, then let's go to the schools.
Well, hold on just 1 second. So, so let's go back a little bit. So in your research of wanting to know more about handwriting, why don't you share kind of what you discovered? How handwriting came to be and what the handwriting we grew up with is actually designed to do.
Okay. All right. So
That.
usually a lot of people don't, they want to skip all that because, they're scared of the government and everything. Well, I'm not. And so I started looking at handwriting and then I started checking other handwriting things out. And I watched through the ages all the way back to the pharaohs and on the walls of mountains, the pictographs and all that. I'm looking at all this and thinking, well, if they can write like that, why did we have handwriting? Well, through all of the years, it came down from the Russians and the Germans and the English before it ever got to America. We've only had it for 250 years, handwriting. And maybe a little bit longer because I think we're going on the 300 years of having the United States. But anyway, And they brought over this thing and they said they knew, in fact, Hitler knew during the time of his regime that if he changed the handwriting and he made it straight up and down, everybody would follow the rules and regulations set down by society. I thought, whoa, really? So then my mind started going crazy and I wanted more answers. I wanted to know what this was really all about and why we had to write anything, because caveman, they wrote, the pharaohs wrote, everybody used to write, whether it was a picture on the wall or whatever. Still writing is still a communication tool. Well, I got to checking out every one of the letters. And if an A means something like honesty, okay, what could be the opposite of it? Lying, cheating, and thieving. And I went, really? So if you could show people how to not lie by changing all their A's, O's, G's, and D's, would it help them in their lives? So I took on a couple people just because I needed somebody to do a research project on. And I found out that it did. If you change the handwriting, you change that frequency in your mind that says that you're bad to you're good. And then you can go on and you can feel it. You felt it when you did it. Why don't they train children anymore? In 1973, they knew that they were going to bring into all the children the computer age. Well, what's a computer? Printing, right? I even have a program on that, on the computer. I have looked at their handwriting and the way you guys type out things. Oh, I want to jump through the computer and say, no, you can't do it that way. No, it causes this and this and this. But anyway, and if anybody wants that report, I'll send it to you. All you have to do is give me a self-stamped addressed envelope and I'll send it to you. And it shows that they've had an agenda, I would probably say since the beginning of time, to control us. Well, how would you control anybody? Through their mind. And if you can write in a certain way, I was a Catholic, so my penmanship is really good, or I would have got smacked with a ruler. You know how it goes. Oh, Catholic, you always know when a Catholic is around because they flinch when you pick up a ruler. And so the Catholic Church always made sure we knew how to do all these things in a very perfect way. And then I talked to the kids that went to public school and they said the same thing, but they loved it. They loved penmanship. Most every kid I ever talked to really liked that. You know why? Because in the mind, it was telling you about you. And everybody wants to know about them. Themselves, that is. Of course, they send me letters and say, you know, should I go out with this guy? And I just shake my head because nobody listens to me anyway. And I tell them, no, don't go out with that guy. He's dangerous. Well, you know what they have to do? They have to try it out. And then they call me up and they go, did you know you were right? Yeah, right. Okay. So, but then I decided the only way I could really do this was to write a simple book about every letter. The right way to write a letter, not the way they've taught you how to write, because they taught you things like, oh, I got to show you guys this one. Okay, I'm going to erase the board, stand up for a minute.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so here is my little board. This was makeshift. Everything is still in boxes for moving. But so we have this letter, and this letter is a T. Now, remember when we were doing cursive, we crossed it in the middle, right?
Right.
Okay, so religiously, what does that look like?
Oh, a cross.
It sure does. And so I said, could it be that they are teaching you how to hang yourself on a cross? Could it be that the slant of your handwriting may be wanting you to behave yourself, not speak, not do the things that would cause unruly children to really be in charge of their life? And I thought, yep, it's probably very true. So you take that T and you get rid of the cross. Oh, by the way, do you know that if you make that T and cross it at the top and put it under your pillow, you'll sleep better?
All right. If anybody has sleeping issue, watch how Polly's making her tea so you can
Can you
sleep
see
well.
that? Because it's kind of light.
Yeah,
Can you
we
see
can
it?
see.
Okay. So
So
I
she's
crossed
crossing
it
it at the top.
and I crossed it uphill.
Oh,
Why
uphill.
would I ever cross a T uphill? Well, first of all, I would stand in front of everybody and say, the first thing we got to do before you even give this a shot, because I don't like the word try, because if you try something, you're not going to do it. So I said, we're going to get rid of your teacher in second grade. So I want you to write her name on a piece of paper, and I want you to tear it up in little pieces, and we'll throw it away afterwards, okay? Because she's not there anymore. But I can't tell you how many people tell me, oh, but I didn't learn that in school. Yep, that's why I told you to get rid of your teacher. Because this is a new way of thinking, a new way of being.
So what does the uphill
Oh,
top
it
mean?
makes you so charming. It makes you so happy. Any handwriting that goes uphill is a person that is happy.
Mm.
If they start going downhill, give them their handwriting back, turn around and walk away from them. They'll only abuse you. So, or let's say you're sick. You know that 9 times out of 10, your handwriting will go downhill when you're sick because sickness
Ah.
is a negative. It
I
is.
guess people can douse all this too. So if
Yes, they
you're
can.
sick, are there certain letters that you would write?
Oh, yeah. Like, let's say, you know what the worst thing is everybody's doing right now? Worrying. They worry about what's going on in the government. They worry about the president. I won't even mention his name. And they worry about their money, if it's going to be in a bank or not be in a bank or whatever. Of course, dowsing helps with that because we can always ask, is that the truth or is it a lie? But when I show them how to stand strong in themselves, you don't have to be afraid of anything. And that's what handwriting does. If you know how to create your handwriting correctly, it will change your life into such a point where instead of taking people emotionally, which a lot of people do, or worry about what's going on, I can show you the O. You can make an O like this, or an A. See, they don't have anything inside of them. They're nice and clean and clear. That means you're not worrying. That means that you're only going to find truth about things instead of lies. The one thing about that letter is once you create those letters, it not only heals your stomach and heals your intestines, okay, because it's part of the body, and I'll show you how that works.
Okay, so let me just clarify, Polly. So most of us were taught to do a cursive O with like the little loop at the top that connects to something else. So
yeah, that means you love to worry about everything. Now,
okay.
wasn't that interesting that they put that loop in there so that you kids would be concerned about maybe what was going on in school so that you could be better when you probably were in the first place.
So how would you write? So write the word other for us and show me how you recommend.
Oops. O-T-H-E-R. Whoops, I'm going to get another one of these. Okay. So I would do it like this. O-T-H-E-R. Okay, even if I was.
Okay, we can't see that right now. Just because you're in the center of the camera. Okay.
O-T-H-E-R.
Ah, so you just literally drag it
I got
across.
rid of it. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
it's like good. Here's the word good, okay? And a lot of people love putting those wonderful little loop-de-loops in there. And it really just ties you up. And it's got a D in it too. Yay! Look at all those round circles. Aren't those wonderful? Now, if you put things on the inside of that, I'm going to show you what happens. This is really very interesting.
I hope you guys are writing along at home so you can see where you loop things.
Okay, so I'm not a great artist, so I'm going to do a stick person. Okay?
Okay.
So there's the stick person. Here's your handwriting. I'm going to write the word LGT. It's not a word, it's just L.
The letters.
So here's your L. Here's your G. And here's your T. So we're looking at that and we're saying, well, what is she doing? The L is the openness of your body. It is the breathing mechanism. It is your lungs. It is your back. So if they're closed, I can just about bank on it. There's two things that are happening. You have a bad back and you're constipated. Okay? Now, see this right here? If we didn't have any of this in here.
So that was the G.
That's the G. So there's the G.
Can you stand your chair's blocking the camera and
Oh, okay. Yeah. Get this out of the way.
yeah. And then if you'll stand a little bit to the side so we can see you right. Perfect.
Okay, so here's the G.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is your stomach. This is your intestines. This is all those and this is where we have this.
Oh, our emotions.
That's the emotions. This is the thinking. So this is where we think, because this is the head, right? And this is your action. So there's your action letters, because there's your legs. So your Y's, G's, J's, Z's are all have legs on. Well, if you don't know how to make a Y with a full lower loop, you're doing yourself a really, I would say you're closing yourself down to money, friendship, action, like going to the grocery store. There's lots of times I see people that have closed Y's, G's, and J's. They send somebody else. It's very convenient now because you can just call up a store and they deliver it. So, and then the T. Look
So if someone has an aversion to exercise, that might be a closed
yes.
Or resistance, I'll say.
It's one of those where, okay, during the day, you might open up all your Y's, G's, and J's. Okay, you get home, you write something out like the grocery list, and all of it's closed. You're not going to the store, I can guarantee you.
Oh.
And then people think I'm psychic. No, I'm not. I'm reading your handwriting. It just closed all those letters. So close your legs down. You're sitting in a chair and you're going, I'm not going anywhere right now. And it works. Now, another thing that people are complaining about is memory. And there is 1 million new, I would say, commercials on TV that tell you, quote unquote, you can't hear, you're losing your sight, you're losing your hearing, you're losing this, you're losing that. Oh my God. So people call me up and they go, Holly, I'm not going to watch TV anymore, but I need something to do. Can you show me how to clear up my handwriting? And I said, yeah, send me 3 pages of handwriting, every one of them with your signature, and I will send it back and I will give you something to do. And then if you want to buy the books, the handwriting books, there's a whole bunch still out there. They're not going to get rid of them because too many people want them. And start studying. You're going to find a lot of knowledge is in a handwriting book.
Well,
Yeah.
lots of exercises in your handwriting books, right? So people can make the positive change. So if someone wanted to improve their memory, what letters would you recommend?
Well, first of all, they got to open up their E's. Okay, E's are about open-mindedness. So if your E's are closed, you're not going to hear me. You're not going to listen to me. You're going to believe what you want. So your E's have to look like that. Okay?
Now, does it
Or
matter if
in
it's
printing,
printed?
they got to look like that.
Okay. So let me just pause here for one moment. So is there a difference between the cursive and the printing? What is one better than another? What does it mean? What do you recommend?
Okay, I'll give you an example of cursive and then of handwriting or printing. They really wanted us to go to printing because it's a disconnect of one person to the next. And you've seen that. The young kids do not have connection to each other.
Oh,
and
no,
if
it's
they
to their
do,
electronics.
oh yeah, right here in their face.
Mhm.
Yep, all the time, or it's on the computer. I have a household here that I can walk anywhere in this house and they don't see me because everybody's on their phone, right? And it kind of shows in their handwriting because their E's are closed. It's like, focus in, this is what I'm going to believe. I'm not going to believe anything else. You know, somebody just asked a question. So I don't know. I don't know if I can get it.
Well, I'll read the questions later.
Okay.
She just wanted you to talk about your books later, but we'll
Okay.
cover that before
So
we go.
here's our memory. 5 lines of perfect eyes. So 5 lines, five across, 5 this way, 5 lines down will improve your memory by 75%.
Okay, so that's the I. That's dotting the I.
Yeah, dotting the I, making it
Now,
perfect.
did the E do something
But
to
you
our
got to
memory as
open
well?
your E's. You got to open your E's first. Make sure they're all open so that you will do it and remember, because eyes are about memory. If you have closed E's, you're not going to remember what you just learned.
Okay, so I think we would recommend the 5 lines across and 5 lines down of the E's, and then do the same thing for the I. So we
Very
can be
good, Mary.
open-minded and then focus on our detail and the memory.
You make a great graphologist.
Okay, so I think we're doing good on the memory. What helps eyesight? I hear people talk all the time that they feel like their eyes are changing.
Well, they are changing. Do you know that handwriting helps really right here too? It helps to enhance the eyes. Now, we've gotten away from handwriting. And in the years that we've gotten away from handwriting since 1973, when they decided they were going to incorporate the, the computer to the children, so all they had to do was just type everything in. And they decided the schools, it wasn't the schools that decided it, it was the government that decided that we don't need handwriting anymore. We can put them on what? Well, it's kind of like the word television. Have you ever really broke that word down? It says tell a vision.
That's very interesting. Never thought about it like that.
Compute. What are we computing? Are we computing something that we're putting into our mind and making things happen for us? Of course we are. Okay.
Okay.
So when we gave that up, there was a lot of things that happened, including our eyesight. It's really funny how a lot of these diseases, I mean, have you heard about a lot of these diseases when you were younger? No, you
No.
did not. No. If we got mad, we went to our room and we wrote in our diary or we wrote in our journal,
Exactly.
and we did ourselves a favor when we did.
Or
Enhance them.
I remember in school, sometimes you had to write on the chalkboard something or in your tablet 100 times. So yeah.
Oh, you mean when you were bad?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Or you didn't get something. Yeah. That you didn't.
Don't do what I
the
do,
rules.
just do what I say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was good for us.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got the memory, the eyesight. Your letters you recommend for eyesight would be?
Eyes, open your E's. It still works the same thing.
Okay.
I also have a wonderful book that I add to my classes, and it's not my book, but it's called The Secret Language of Your Body. And the reason that I have you get that book is because your handwriting shows that there's something going on with your body. So then I tell you, well, right now you got a problem with your pancreas or you got a problem with whatever. I usually don't say that because I'm not a doctor. So I just say, well, there's something going on in the middle of your body. So I would go to the doctors and find out. And then they come to me and they say, well, they said I'm going to have a heart attack. They said that to you? And they said, yeah. And I said, let me see your handwriting because I can see heart attacks in handwriting even before they happen. And then I open up this book and I go, heart attack. You're being stubborn. You're stressed. You're inflexible. Obvious attitude towards, I want it my way or the highway. And it's also about broken heart. And I cannot tell you how many people have broken hearts right now. Yep. The only sad thing that I really see in handwriting is I don't like to see death. I don't. I mean, I've learned through all my other modalities that I do that you're not supposed to predict death. And yet I see it in the handwriting. I do not tell the person that they are going to leave us. I just see if I can't tweak them a little bit so they'll stay here a little longer,
Is there a particular series of letters for healing a broken heart?
Yes. And I'd have to see the whole handwriting so I can find out where first. Because everybody has Well, this is what I say to a lot of people. So who is wrong with you?
Mm. It's a good question.
And I ask that because most of the time a broken heart is about somebody that broke your heart. So if we can get there and we can address the emotion that's going along with the heart, then we can see it in the handwriting. Then we can change the handwriting, which will help you to change your life and get you well. And I will give you a little hint. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bogrites. Bogrites was militia, Montana. Years ago, they had all this stuff going on, and the government was taking down, all these different places like Oklahoma and all these kind of places. And they went to Montana and they were after these guys. Well, Bobright called me up and he wanted me to do a show. So I went ahead and did it. Well, then I had another program I had to do in Denver. So I had to fly from Montana to Denver. And I took this class, which I told you about, the Cards of Your Destiny. And this guy goes, my doctor told me I'm going to have a heart attack. I said, sit down right now. Here's a piece of paper and an ink pen. He looked at me like I'd lost it. And I said, I want you to write out as many letters that go up, like L's, K's, D's, any of those letters. I want you to write them out. So he did. Sure enough, he was going to have a heart attack. So that's when I gave him what? The miles of lace. So I will show you the people that are on the miles of lace because it helps you to stay well. All right. So he did that the whole time we were taking the class. He went to the doctor and the doctor said, where did you go to get rid of that heart attack? And he goes, I just saw a handwriting analyst. Well, you know what the doctor thought. So it's up the body, down the body, up the body, down the body, up the body, down the body, up. I had him do this for pages and then go over it. It kind of reminds you that you have to, take care of yourself, get rid of all your anxiety, all your stress. Yep.
Okay.
Do you know you can't commit a crime unless you have heavy handwriting? I just thought I'd tell you that.
That's fascinating. Okay, so hang on for there's so much juicy stuff here. All right, so the miles of lace helps with stress. I think you had told me before that it helps if you're feeling down, that it's a really good one to do, I guess, if you're struggling with depression.
Strengthens the heart, strengthens your ability to breathe. Americans don't breathe.
To what? Oh, to breathe.
Americans don't breathe.
So if somebody is maybe having a hard time catching their breath, or breathing or congested, the miles of lace. Okay.
And you can do it with your finger. You don't have to do it with an ink pen. Your finger is as much of a frequency as an ink pen. Up the body, down the body, up the body, down the body. I love myself. That kind of thing,
Okay. Okay, excellent. We'll keep going, but if you guys have questions, you can put them in the chat and I'll read them to Polly. So, okay, so we've got the stress, ability to breathe, we're improving our memory. Let's see.
And we're getting out of control.
You may be meaning we're embracing our own inner sovereignty.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what we're doing. We're becoming us, not theirs. And that's a big one right now. especially with AI and all this coming up. Be you. Be brave enough to say what's on your mind. There's nothing wrong with the truth. The truth will set you free.
Okay, so is there a letter or series of letter for courage?
I think by changing your handwriting and making it clearer so that you can read it and everybody else can read it does that. Yes, I've done Donald Trump's handwriting. He is extremely intelligent, extremely intelligent. Okay. He's so intelligent, he has to have maids and butlers because he can't do much of the mundane stuff by himself. Yeah.
Do you see, this is probably a very loaded question.
Oh, good. I love them.
Do you see dishonesty or honesty in his signature? I guess it depends on.
Do you know that him and his wife have the same exact handwriting?
That's very interesting. So she is equally intelligent?
Oh boy. Very much so.
She's just not as vocal, I suppose, as he
No.
is.
No.
So
he has quite an ego, but I haven't met too many men that don't have an ego, especially in politics.
Yeah.
And yeah, politics and handwriting. Wow. Judges, police officers, some of them. I got stopped by a police officer one time. We talked about handwriting. He said his grandma was a handwriting analyst, and he still gave me a ticket.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, we have a question. What about if you cross your T's with a loop without lifting your pen?
You put a loop in your T's? Okay, so loops. Well, I don't want to call them bad. I call them difficult for you. Okay. Because I don't think anything's bad. I just think it's something that you do that you didn't learn not to. So you mean like this? Ask her if that's the one.
Diane, if you want to put that in the chat. She says no.
Okay, so I'm working on.
What does it mean with their loops?
You mean
we'll let
like
her. Yeah.
Well, even this loop. A lot of people do this loop. Okay, hold on just a second. I'm gonna make it darker. It just means you're creative. This one just means you're creative. I would take this away though, because that little loop that we learned how to put on M's and T's and all those kind of things when we were doing cursive, is about holding on and waving and saying, hey, everybody, do you see me? I'm just as important as everybody else. So it's really kind of a way of working hard to get attention from other people when really, if you liked yourself, you wouldn't need the attention.
So that embellishment.
That one right there means that you are very sensitive to what the people think about you. Now, I will tell you, it will happen when you've gained weight. It does happen when you get older because you're afraid of what everybody's going to think about this old lady just sitting there telling you all this stuff, And or you're sensitive about your family. You're not talking about uppercase, you're talking about small t's.
She's talking about a lowercase, and I think when you put the crossbar, if she makes a loop there, I think that might be what she's talking about.
I wouldn't do any loops anywhere. I know that sounds weird, except in your Y's, your G's, and your J's on the bottom. But I got rid, if you if you go to my book, which if anybody wants the alphabet according to Polly, I can send them a full page of how I write the alphabet. If they want to send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, okay? I'll mail it to them.
Or if you want to buy her book, you can send her the email. Her email's at the very top of the chat. And she will autograph it and send it to you.
Yes, I will. Then you'll have my handwriting.
So so what I hear you say about a T is no curves, just keep it straight and cross at the top on the lower case, and then if you do a cursive capital T, no embellishment, just real simple.
Except I want to show you something that if you guys see this, please be careful of this person. And it looks beautiful and it's not beautiful. Okay, I am going to do a couple letters here which I really would like you all to really look at. So here's our F. And here is a G. And here is a Y. And here is a D. Well, now that really looks pretty, doesn't it?
So what does that mean?
It's a felon stroke. It means you've committed a crime. All right.
So don't walk away from that person, huh?
Yeah, just run away from. It's like this kid in Florida came to me and he had a whole page of this. I worked really diligently to be nice to him. I really did. And I just couldn't. And I finally broke down and said, okay, let's just get to the truth. And I said, when did you get out of prison? He said, yesterday. I said, then you're here, why? Because my mom told me I had to come and change my life. And I said, okay, so we got work to do. You get rid of every one of those in your handwriting. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you my book. And I want you to get rid of all those. He now has finished college. He's got like 4 kids, a beautiful wife, a really nice home in upstate New York. And he's doing good. So it does work.
Love it. Yep. Love those stories. Okay, did we talk about courage?
Oh, courage. You know, courage has a lot to do with your emotions. And if the slant is correct, you have a lot of courage. Now, if the slant goes way over to your right, which I'll show you. Well, at least the board cleans off good. Okay.
Yes, it does.
So if we are writing like this, way over this way, this is your emotions. And they are out of whack. Okay? In other words, so the person is writing like this.
Okay. Oh, so you're kind of making a chart for those of you that don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I am. So this, if the handwriting looks like it's practically laying down, I don't care if it's printing, writing. If it's almost laying down to the right, that is not courage. That is being scared. That is needing, wanting, having to have. It's all the emotions wrapped up in one. If you can take that handwriting and bring it almost straight up and down, almost to the point where it looks like, well, like I'll show you. Let's write, I'll just write the word fair. See, it's not laying down. See, it's more straight up and down. But if you get your handwriting to look like that, and a lot of printers do it more so than cursive writers. Cursive writers, well, it all depends. A lot of them are going to the opposite, which is into the left, which is into their past, into all their old problems, into I have to figure out why I'm the way I am to get to where I want to go, which they never do because they're staying in their past. So if your handwriting is just about not quite straight up and down, because then you'll get anal. And if you get anal, you're going to get constipation. And you're going to get all kinds of other diseases that go with that.
And wasn't that the very rigid kind of that whole Hitler regime, right? You had
right.
to, toe the line, be exactly,
And notice how they walked.
Mm-hmm.
Da 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 da. It was never just the flow of the body.
Someone saying that when she was a child, she used to have to slant. She have to slant her writing to the right. That they enforced that.
Yeah, that was called control.
Yeah. So now, what about other languages?
Oh, I can read them. I mean, I can't read them, but I can take the structure of the letter and give them who they are through it. In other words, if it's Japanese, Chinese, they have 210 or more, symbols, but that doesn't make any difference. If it's heavy, then they have an attitude, or they have a lot of energy, or they have something like that. And then if it goes below the line, they're hiding something out, or I used to work for the VA, and they were bringing in a lot of women from Vietnam. And I noticed that they were marrying, the soldiers and all that kind of stuff. And I would look at their handwriting, and every one of them was writing below the line because there was a hidden agenda to them marrying these soldiers in America so that they could come here and live.
Oh, you mean like in the Vietnam War or something like that, the
right.
war bride type
right.
things. I see.
And I watch a lot of women from other countries come here, and I see the same thing. Like you'll hear on the internet, data Russian. No,
right.
Don't do that. Or data Polynesian, date whatever. Well,
right.
Then I have them send me their handwriting, and they say, well, it's in another language. I said, I don't care. I'm going to tell you if they're good, bad, or indifferent. And usually, again, they got to find out for themselves. So
right.
Then they call me later and say, why didn't you pester me? Why didn't you? Because I'm not your mother. Yeah, I got 5 kids. I don't need any more.
And they're done that. So we have a question about combining cursive and printing.
Oh, I love it.
I think a lot of us do that. So what does that mean?
Means you're cultured and refined. That's a nice thing. Plus, it adds a little bit of kind of wanting to know what you're not supposed to know. The unknown, the unexplained, kind of throwing in a little bit of psychic awareness, that kind of thing. I love it.
Okay. It's not a wrongness.
No, it is not a wrongness. It really is very wonderful, and I do it myself.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Excellent. I would love for people to hear the story about how you went into just like a really, or maybe you have some other story. Just you worked with kids, and I know you've worked with medical. The story you told about the little girl with the gunshot thing. That's incredible. I'm sure you've got a ton of stories. So if you want to share some of your stories, I find them so impactful.
Well, let's do the one where I went to the school and I wore red and black, which was their gang colors. And I really didn't know that that's what their gang colors were. And I just said, Polly, you're here for a reason. There's no mistakes. You got to go through with this. So I walked into the school and all these kids are glaring at me, you know. And so I went to the classroom and I told this one young lady, because she wanted me to do her handwriting, that she had to get away from her boyfriend because he was beating her up all the time. And she said, how do you know that? And I said, I see it in the handwriting. You're scared to death of him. And I said, you turn him into the police and you get away from him. Well, I did the custodians, I did the principal, I did the teachers. I was there till about 5 o'clock. So I walked out the door, and here's all these big kids. And a lot of them were black, and nothing against black kids, you know, it's just that they were running the gangs at the time. And in Denver, in East Denver. And they kind of threw me up against the wall and said, well, who do you think you are? A psychic? And I go, no, I'm a handwriting analyst. I show people how to change their handwriting, change their life. Well, what do you think of our handwriting? I said, well, why don't you give it to me? Well, we're going to wait a minute. Do you do art? And I said, yeah, I do art. And they said, well, would you do our art? Man, their artwork was beautiful. And I started praising the kids. And then I started doing their handwriting. And I told them how intelligent they were. And they were telling me about their mom and dad, how when they got home, oh, it was so terrible. They said it would be snowing outside and their mom and dad wouldn't let them in the house and they'd have to sleep outside without any blankets or anything. Or their parents would try to run over them, you know, with a car. And the only reason they were in a gang was to be safe from their own families. Well, they finally let me go. And I walked away and they said, oh, by the way, Mrs. Cady, you're safe here because nobody's going to kill you. Well, the next year, the school called me up to help them with their handwriting. And literally, I'd gone to a lot of schools that were confronted. In fact, I went to Columbine, and that's another whole story. And the Columbine shooting that was, 22 years ago or something. And all these kids started changing. And they started taking their colors off the walls of the schools. And so they had a tornado in Denver, which is not usual, but anyway, they did. And the one big black kid grabbed me, threw me over his shoulder, took me down the stairs, and he goes, nobody's going to hurt you, not even a tornado. And I just thought that was really cool. But I used to do after prom parties where they would rent the whole entire shopping center, and then they'd have all kinds of games and everything for the seniors, you know, to keep them off the streets that night. And I would do handwriting for a lot of them. And everybody would kind of look at it like, I'm not sure I'm going to go to that table. You know, she's weird. Again, like I always say to everybody, thank you for noticing. And they came, and the first person that came told the second person who, you know, and then I had a line that you would not believe, kids, and I never got out of there till 4 o'clock in the morning. And this one kid came to me and his handwriting was straight downhill. And I looked at him and I said, here's your handwriting. I'm not going to do it. And he looked at me and he goes, and why are you not doing my handwriting? You know, and he was probably a kid from a very wealthy family because he was dressed like to the nine. And I said, no. I said, I just don't like to get picked on. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, every time I tell you something, you're going to tell me I'm full of it. And that I don't know what I'm talking about. And you're going to try to put me down and you're going to do all these kind of things. And I'm not doing it. Do you know he turned around and he told all the people behind him, go ahead and go to her. She's really good. Yep. And I said, do me a favor and bring your handwriting uphill, not downhill. And anybody that has downhill handwriting, please check your attitude because it's going downhill.
What in the world did you do at Columbine? So you came in after the shooting?
No, I came there before the shooting. I was asked to come to a number of schools that were having trouble with the kids. And that was the beginning of all the guns and all that. And I walked into Columbine, and the feeling in there, I doused it to see if I was going to be safe. And I doused with my finger, so I don't have to take my pendulum with me. And it said, go ahead, you're all right. They want to hear you. They just don't want to do anything about what's going to happen. Those kids that killed all the children were in that class that I had in the auditorium. And they were right on it. I mean, they wanted to ask me, what do I see in handwriting? How does it help with us and all this? And I went through a whole program, probably about an hour and a half program at the school. And the kids walked me out. But I had the eeriest feeling about that school. And it wasn't 2 weeks after that, I was in Arkansas doing a Dowsers conference in Arkansas. And I heard about all those kids being killed. And the teacher happened to be one of my daughter's best friends. So it kind of hit home. And I more or less told everybody that the kids' handwriting, a lot of the kids' handwriting was so angry, so just, it wasn't normal handwriting, It was like they were really going to do something. There was an uprisal coming, and by God, it happened.
Wow.
I was not shocked because I'd been there.
Makes me wonder about outside manipulation.
Oh yeah, like all of it.
Yeah. That's
right.
That's a topic for another probably another night, but yeah.
But the nice thing about handwriting is I can take a kid that is really, really, really angry, and I know he's going to do something, and I can sit with him and I can show him step by step through the writing what he's going to do, how it's going to turn out. And, and they love it. You know why? Because somebody's finally paying attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know how many people out there would just love a nice word said to them? Just once. Yep.
Okay, so you heard it here. I'm inviting everyone to say something nice to someone tonight, tomorrow, this week, every day this week. Just challenge yourself to just say something nice to someone, because I think we all need to hear it.
And especially our family. I think we take our family for granted. And if they come in and they want to tell us a story about what they've done, just sit there and listen. That's where the open ears come, because if you can open your ears, you can listen without opening your mouth and making it your story instead of their story. And you will learn so much by opening your ears than having them closed and it being about you only. So
well, you could do some marriage counseling.
Oh, I do that too, believe me. I say, oh no, the two of you are not going to make it. And let me give you an example, okay?
Okay.
This is kind of cool. Okay, so the lady has big handwriting. Oh, she just loves this guy. He's so intelligent. He's just magnificent. He's got teeny weeny handwriting you can hardly read. Oh, she just loves his brain. And he just looks at her like, oh, she's going to change my life and take care of me. And it's everything I ever wanted because she's got this big attitude and she can go out and make all this money for me and I can stay home. And I go, it's not going to work. And they say, well, why not? I go, okay, so we're going to drive down the street. And your husband with the small handwriting is going to be in driving the car. Now you're asking him to see the eagle that you just saw fly over the top of the car and land on a post. And he's going to say, quote unquote, because his handwriting's so small, that he's right here. He can't be here. He's right here. He goes, I'm driving. I cannot see that right now. So are you seeing the picture? She wants to show him everything, and he is focused on one thing at a time. That's the small handwriting.
So,
Okay.
so what would someone in that position do? Would you encourage them to start writing larger?
Well, small handwriting people can write a little larger, but they can't write in a very extremely large way because they'll have a heart attack and die. Serious.
Oh, wow.
Because they're so, see, a small handwriting person probably has been hurt really bad sometime in their life. So what did they do? They reverted inward. And then they closed themselves off. So they don't like people. They don't like crowds. They don't like, and they're good executives as long as you leave them alone and you tell them they're right all the time. You know, they can wear out a large handwriting person very quickly because she wants them to do something. Get up. Don't just think. Well, if you're going to give him some kind of idea, he's got to think it through. Remember, his handwriting isn't big enough to just forge forward. He has to methodically think it out step by step, and that could drive a bigger handwriting person crazy.
So that might be a good person that deals with finances or something like that, that is willing to be very methodical and detail oriented.
Right. And she needs to be a real estate agent and not come home all the time.
Right, or something. Yeah. Yeah, that is really interesting. Okay, we have a question. What about capital letters?
Well, capital letters are in a ball game all to themselves. And really, there's a lot to it, but not as much to it as the small case letters, okay, and the slant and that kind of stuff. That's where I get most of my information. But it's how you come into those letters, all right, that really tells me the tales where you're going. So if the handwriting is really, really tall, I look at the capital letters. And if they're really, really tall and they're 3 to 5 times taller than the middle case letters, run. Do not walk to the nearest exit and get away from them because they can be dangerous. So, you know, handwriting is about, it's just like everything else. It's kind of like be kind to yourself. Don't make anything so pretty that you don't know what it means because it could get you in trouble. Buy my book, then you know how to write them out correctly. And or just, if you just want the alphabet, I'll send it to you. It's no big deal. It shows you I got rid of all the foo-foo stuff, all the fancy letters and all that. I got you down to loving who you are instead of trying to be somebody that you're not. And you know, I really honestly believe that they want us to be somebody else besides who we really are. Yeah.
That's the beautiful part, is having permission to be yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's part of that.
And
The
it feels so good. No, you can't get the book on Amazon.
she's in Australia. That you can go to
Oh,
Lulu.
yes. And Lulu will send it to you.
Yeah. It's is it lulu.com?
Hmm.
Okay. So if you're in Australia, that's where you would order the book. If you're in the States, you can order it through Polly.
And
Or
I'm
Lulu.
really sorry about the Amazon thing, but um, Amazon and I have not been friends. And it's because they want me to change everything in my book. And I won't. I will not change a thing in my book because it is the way it is. It's not the way they want it to be, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Oh, it says Lulu doesn't
Oh
service
no. Well,
Australia.
honey, I'll send it to you. Just
The
send me your address, and I'm not too sure how much it costs to send it to Australia, but I'll find out.
Yeah, you have Polly's email address, so you can put your thing there. They would like your mailing address so that they can send a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Okay, 660
660. I'm typing in the chat.
Marshall Street, Grand Junction, Colorado, 81505.
Okay. Put that in there. Yeah. Okay. 660 Marshall Street, Grand Junction, Colorado, 81505. So that's if you want to send Polly your self-addressed stamped envelope so she can send you a page of the way she writes the alphabet. And if you want to buy her book, you can go to send her an email and
Well, either way, on Lulu or I send it to you, it's 25. Okay.
the the book is
Except in
25.
Australia, and then I think it's a little bit more. It's, I think, 27 in Canada and about 27 in Australia. But let me find out first, okay? And I can let you know, Mary. Okay.
Yeah, and you can send Polly an email telling her you want a book, and then y'all can figure out you know, postage and the and payment and all that other kind of stuff. So we'll
Right.
do that. The So I have a question. You know, when people do the signatures and you can't even just read it. It's just like a scribble or almost like a line with a loop and then a dot, you know, and you're thinking, what does this mean? You know what I mean? You wouldn't. And then I think, you know, they have all those things that you sign with your finger now. And boy, I just kind of do
Oh, aren't
initials
they?
and just
Oh,
whoosh. Yeah. So what do you A, what does it mean when you have that illegible handwriting? And then B, what do you recommend for those signing with your fingers? Um, you know, you
well,
just want to do
first
it.
of all, even though a lot of people will argue with me, I would rather have you write your signature out because it's harder for somebody to write your name out than it is to scribble it out,
Mhm.
because it's much easier to forge a scribbled handwriting. Plus, on top of that, it means avoidance. You want to stay away from your family. You probably don't like them anyway. So you don't have much to do with them. Do you know your first name is who you are? Your last name is either your married name, your family name, or a name you picked out. Now, that may control your life also. So a lot of people come to me when they're younger and they have their full name, you know. And I go, and their last name, I can't even read. First name, maybe her name is Sharon, and I can read that, but her last name is just a bunch of scribble. So the first thing I'll say to them is this: so you don't get along with them, huh? You want out of the house. You're just tied up in knots because you cannot figure out how you're going to get away from them. Well, I'll tell you what, if you would clean up your last name and you would make it clear and then you would underline it, you can walk out of that house on your own. and become successful. Now,
So-
another thing
So
I
whoa,
tell
whoa,
people,
whoa, what do you underline?
your name, the whole
Oh,
name.
the whole thing. So what does that do?
Oh, that supports you. Remember, we don't support ourselves. So when I underline my name, here's a good example. So I thought, well, I'm going to give this a shot since it's a new thing I'm doing. I'm going to underline my name, and I went to Target. Now, the line to Target was a mile long, and she was just really nasty. She was throwing things in bags and trying to get people through the line. And I got to her, and then I signed my name and I underlined it, and she changed. She changed. She was even nice to me. She gave me an extra bag. I walked out there and said, now this is amazing. So I started doing it with everybody. And I underline it no matter where I go. I have not been treated bad since because I'm supporting myself. You see?
Love that.
I am Polly Cady. And I underline. And then the second thing about that is there isn't a forger that'll ever put that line on there because they're not supporting you, right? They're not supporting themselves either, so they'll forget the line. Then you know it's a forgery.
That's fascinating.
Little tricks. It's pretty cool.
What other trick do we need to know?
Can you demonstrate? You want me to demonstrate the signature?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's do signatures. So I'm going to do Jim Smith. We'll do Jim. Okay. So here's Jim. And then all of a sudden there's, well, I would have to say Jim really likes himself, but he don't like that family because it's not clear. It's all messed up.
You cut out a little bit. He doesn't like what?
He doesn't like his family because this is his family. Now look how it went below the line. So there's some hidden agenda to that family that's been going on for a long, long time. And Jim doesn't want to be a part of it. Well, you know what I told him? Why don't you change this? It's a frequency. So what you put out is what you get. So let's look at Smith. Now, I want you to see something that I just did. I made, it's about the same all the way across. But if I was to make Jim just a little bit bigger than Smith, then he would be in charge of his name or himself, and he wouldn't let this family bother him anymore. Just because he cleared that up, just because he cleared Smith up, he now gets along with his family. And all the problems that were going on between him and his dad or his mom or whoever went away. That doesn't mean he has to live with them. That doesn't mean he has to have anything to do with them. But he himself changed his attitude, which changed his way of living for himself. And that's how that works. And then you underline it. Yay. And when you underline your name, you're supporting yourself in your belief systems. My name is always clear, and I'll tell you why. Because I want people to know who I am. Okay? And I don't want them to hate me. And I don't want them to, oh, well, they say I'm weird, but I love that. And, but I support myself. I know who I am. I am Polly Cady, and I'm proud of it. And the funny thing is that your body goes, oh yeah, that's me. And all of a sudden your body sits up straighter, walks straighter, all kinds of things. Your whole entire life can change by just changing your handwriting.
Here's another dowser who does the Court of Atonement. And one of her things she does is sometimes your body's not in alignment with your name. You know what I mean? So it's kind of getting into that alignment with
Right.
that. So will you do an M? Because I'm always wondering about, when you start.
Oh, you like that? I know what that's all about with you. Okay. All right. So here we go. Is that what it looks like?
Yes. Maybe not quite that long on the top.
it's
It's usually a little
kinda-
bit shorter.
It's kind of got a shorter one.
Yes. Yeah.
Means you got a great sense of humor. But M's have a lot of meanings to them, but I like that one. See that little hook on there? If
Mhm.
you can put that hook on a lot of your upper letters, you can laugh at life instead of taking it so seriously.
Okay.
So I like that one. Now, M's can tell me how much sugar you like, and it can tell me all kinds of things. Yeah, that I can't talk about on the video. But you could always get
So
it.
after we stop recording, we may need to have
Yeah.
a line or two. And of course, I really would love, to have you come to Houston and do a workshop, because I know people just really want to know what, we there's so much more. You are a wealth of knowledge. And anyway, I'm sure we'd have quite a big group that would want to support you. So anyway, I'm just going to keep inviting you, keep putting that out there for you.
Well, I have quite a few handwriting analysts in Houston. I have quite a few in Florida, Chicago, Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, just about most of the United States. All right, during my prime time. I haven't really been teaching for the last probably 8 years. So you guys, when they brought that video out, I had to laugh. I said, I have a video? And they go, yeah. I said, really? I have a video? I said, where is it? And they told me, and I looked at it, and I learned a lot from myself watching it. Thank you. And but then it's caused me to go to work again. Yeah.
Well, you have gifts that need to be shared with the world. So I think
Well,
that's
I've taught enough people. You'd think they'd be out there teaching it too,
I don't know. Your stories are pretty amazing. So we have a question. If you underline your name, would you have the line going up?
Sure. Why not? You why? Because you're artistic and you love to fiddle with, creative things? Go for it.
Well, I think when you talked about being uphill, being happy, that might be something. Yeah. And she says that's what she does. So
good. Keep it up, because it really helps to bring that creative energy back into your life. So that's awesome.
okay.
Yep.
Well, we are kind of getting close to our time. I don't know if you have another story you want to leave us with, something, if we have other questions. There's a question.
How do I combine the dowsing with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the handwriting, how do you combine the dowsing with the handwriting?
So I used to do investigations also. Okay. In other words, I go out and somebody would call me up and they say, we have a killing. We want you to come and we want you to help us solve this mystery. Okay. Got the handwriting? Yeah. Okay. So then I would sit down, because I have the name of the person. Okay. I have the birth date. And then I said, do you have any handwriting that you can send me over? I said, because the case is so brand new, I need the original copy. I will make a copy and I'll give it back to you, but I need the original, because there's certain things I can see in original that I can't see in a copy. So they send it to me. Well, while they're getting their stuff together, I would ask, are they going to qualify me to go to court for this? And they'd say no, because I doused it. Okay, fine. So am I just working on such and such and such and such? And it goes, yeah. Okay, so now I know. And then I would say, so who did it? And I might have 4 or 5 names. Well, the handwriting tells me which one would do it, or that did the killing or whatever. And then I douse it for verification, and I go, yes. And then we would go after that person, and they would find out more information of what he did through the handwriting and through all kinds of other stuff, and then they'd arrest him. Yeah. So
So,
I've been on a number of cases like that. I don't like them.
but you could use that for corporate, people that are wanting to hire people. You could do that with dating candidates. I mean, you could do that with or different organizations. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of things that you could apply the handwriting and the dowsing to.
Okay, I used to work for a drilling company, and we did a lot of oil rigs and where they were, because they'd lose some of their oil rigs, which I never could understand. But anyway, and so I would go out and I'd douse and where it was, on a map and everything. And then we go out there and they want to know who did it. And they said they have a number of names of people. So I would look at the name and I say, this guy did it, and all that kind of stuff. Well, anyway, I went to Denver one time when this company asked me to come in, and I'm looking at the handwriting because the guys in the room next to him were supposedly supposed to be their well, it was kind of a half of a company. So one half of the company helped this half of the company. So they weren't quite partners, but they were working together. You know what I'm saying? And so they said, well, we want you to see this letter that they wrote us. And I went, first thing out of my mouth was, so how much they take you for? And he goes, how did you know that? And I said, how much did they take you for? I said, around $60,000, didn't they? And they went, yeah. And I said, oh boy. And then I saw the secretary go by. And I said, who is that? And he said, that's the secretary. I said, do you have her handwriting? And they said, yeah. So they handed it to me and I doused it, and it said that she's in trouble. And I went, oh boy. Well, I'm looking at the handwriting, and I told the people that I'm talking to in this one room, if they would please tell the secretary to quit now, right now. It's very, very dangerous that she, be around these people. Well, the next time they called me, they couldn't find the secretary. So I got my map out and I said, is she still in Colorado? And it said yes. And so then I took my ruler and found out what town she was in, except I didn't get a very good feeling. So I asked them, I said, did she write anything at the end? Anything before the last time you saw her? Yeah, she wrote this little note. Well, I noticed it was going downhill and it was underneath the line. And I went, oh, no. And so we called the FBI and they all went out there, and they had found 26 bodies underneath this tree in this small town. And she happened to be one of them. I just wish people sometimes would listen to me, but they don't. It's like this time that this gal came to me in Telluride, and I told her, I said, don't go out with this guy. He's going to beat you up. He's going to hurt you every time you turn around. A year later, I'm back doing another program. She goes, you know something? You saved my life. I said, yeah, but you were with him. Yeah, he tried to hurt me. And instead I called the police because I remember what you said. And I said, thank you. Thank you. Makes me feel a little better. you know. But I've done movie stars, and I've dowsed for them. I do wells also. I don't do them anymore because I can't climb the mountains like I used to. But I do have a dowser that does that for me. But that's how the handwriting, and it all goes together. Remember, we're all one piece in different parts. And if we could get it all together, oh, would we be powerful? Because we are.
Okay, so before we wrap up, if you will write something on your whiteboard that we can copy, that would just be a positive thing that we could all take with us. What letters would you what letters would you write, or what word?
Okay. Now, you notice how I did that eye. I started from here. I did not start from here. Now, if you don't know, if you can't read cursive, and I don't understand how come they can't read cursive. All they have to do is put a line into the words, and so you go like this. Then change the I to this one. Okay, I love me. All right, that's just an independent I. This one is a very incredible letter because it balances the I am in you. And I just love that sentence. I love me. And I have a wonderful, wonderful poem to share with you at the end. I love myself.
Hang on one second. Tell the people how you formed that I, just because some people do it backwards, I've found out.
And I go up, over, around, and back. This is your mother. And this is your father. And by balancing these, you're balancing the male and female in your body. Okay? This is your mother, and this is your father. But this is independence of both of them. If you write it this way, which I see a lot of the kids do, they just write a line. You know what I tell them? Don't get a flat tire on the highway. Nobody will help you. There's nobody there to help you. No mother or female or male or dad. Nobody there. So you're standing all by yourself. And I see this in relationships, and I go to the guy, I go, no matter what, she's going to do it her way anyway. Because she thinks nobody will help her anyway.
Okay, so you can do either I, and it's correct, but you want to form it the correct way.
Right, just don't do this one. There. Yeah, right. So start on this side, up, over, around, and back. If you make it the other direction, it means you hate authority figures. And I mean hate. Because you will be really nasty to a lot of people. You have lots of trouble with men. There's all kinds of reasons why if you go backwards, what it'll do to you. So I always say, start with where you were born. Oh, this is cool. See this little space right here? That's where he and she got together and created you.
Oh, interesting.
So you went through the mother, you met the father because you're not through the father, but you met him. Okay. And so when you balance that out, then you get along with authority figures, you get along with your husband, your friends, everybody, you've balanced you because balanced. I is the self-image. I am.
Okay, and then our L has a nice open loop, and we've got a big O with no loops. It just goes across the top, and then our V is formed and is connected to an open E, and then we've got that M with a little bit of flourish, and then we've got our open E. So
well, okay. myself a little bit too, you know,
And we could
because we
underline it.
all are very funny.
Exactly. Thank you. This has been
Yeah.
wonderful. I so
I love
appreciate
it, you
this.
guys. Thank you very much.
Um,
Dot, small I with a dot or a circle. Oh, a circle. A circle just means that you got somebody in your family that you wanted to be better than them.
That's
So
funny.
go for it. Just don't do all of your letters all the time. Just every once in a while, you can make a little circle. Most of the time that I see the little circles like that, if it's done too much, it means that you could be in trouble or that you're still sitting in jail.
Okay, good to know.
But you are different than your family.
Well, I am gonna stop recording. I'm gonna
Okay.
close us out, and then we'll still be online for a few minutes. So thank you all for tuning in. Be sure and tune in next month. We're meeting in person and online with Dr. Stuart Mormestein. And what else? Thank you again for all those
Well,
who,
thank you for inviting me.
yes, and thank you for all who donated. And we're just so happy to have you, Polly. This was amazing. And I really hope you'll consider coming to Houston for a workshop, because I know that there's a lot of people that would really benefit. I know you have more information to share, so thank you.
And thank you.